Lolicons are weird. I'm not telling you something you don't know. I'm not telling you butterflies taste with their feet. It's a fact. They do taste with their feet. I'm not telling you clouds weigh about 1,000,000 pounds. They weigh 100,000 tons. They do weigh a lot. Clouds weigh 1,000,000 pounds. It's crazy. I'm telling you, people that enjoy lolly content or shota content, anything of that variety, are weird. They are absolutely depraved. And I would like to talk about this because what I keep hearing from people is this exact argument. Do you think people that take out lives in video games like Call of Duty and Grand Theft Auto or Mortal Kombat, do you think they want to kill people in real life? Obviously, your logic falls apart. I was 10 years old. I was exactly 10 years old when I watched my brother lose his life to gun violence right in front of my eyes. Now, this sent off a signal inside of my brain that hurt indefinitely. It made me feel horrified. I threw up. I shook. Everything left my body. I was absolutely mortified by this experience. But let's talk about something I can actually verify. I live in Detroit. I have a sister in Toledo, Ohio. Toledo, Ohio is an hour from Detroit. And I watched her take a guy out outside of a bar. Here was a news article to that exact thing so you can verify this exact claim. I want to verify this because this is very important to me. And this topic is very important to me because I watched somebody lose their life. And this is the most verifiable thing I can bring up. So I watched this man, eyes deflate. I watched him lose his life. The ambulance took too far long to get there, and my sister was in jail for a little bit, but I watched this man lose his life. I watched his entire life leave him. I felt his body get cold. I talked him through everything to tell him that things were going to be okay because my sister was getting jumped by this guy, but I didn't want a guy to lose his life over this. This was horrifying. She had an open carry. She's fine now. I just want to point that out if you want to curious about the details of this entire thing. But I watched that whole thing go down. That was the most horrifying thing I had ever seen. It was terrifying. These are many events in my life where I watched many people lose their lives, but I don't have the desire to witness that over and over again. I don't. Yet in that very same vein, I can play Mortal Kombat. I can play Call of Duty. I can play Counter-Strike because those acts of simulated violence are wildly different than real life violence. Now, I am a human science major, so I understand a little bit about the centers of brain that activate inside of your brain when you see certain imagery. Human beings react to signals before they react to logic, and every piece of media sends signals straight into the nervous system, whether the viewer wants it or not. Violence triggers alarm systems very deep in the animal portion of the brain. It's that ancient circuitry that recognizes danger, injury, screaming, bone, blood, and the collapse of bodies. Anything provocative, sexual imagery, anything that is promiscuous activates an entirely different set of instincts. They're tied to attraction, intimacy, reproduction, vulnerability, and desire. Those are an entirely different section of how your brain works. The emotional wiring involved in these processes operates on completely separate rails inside the mind. A violent scene produces tension, recoil, adrenaline, discomfort. Those are the things that it produces. I would like to bring those up because I'm not using the actual scientific terms because I want to make this so everybody can understand. A sexualized scene produces arousal signals, curiosity, fascination, those things. They're very different than what violence produces. That emotional architecture sits at the center of why these arguments, these conversations become so heated, why they resist resolution through logic alone, why people talk past each other instead of to each other when they debate about these topics online. It's the most common thing I've seen in media where people will often argue with me and say, well, you just want, if you're a violent man, you want to take lives. I'm going to break it down for you. I don't. Video games show this reaction very clearly because developers have spent decades pushing visual realism closer and closer to the physical truth of violence. Early shooters delivered combat through stylized explosions, quick animations, distant enemies falling over firefights. Modern engines create detailed wounds, ragdoll physics, bone fractures, thick splashes of blood that linger on the environment. They're getting closer to realism. The closer those images move towards real human imagery, the more uncomfortable people become. That's how it works. All this looks so real, it's making me uncomfortable. His eye came out. That's what's happening. If I watch an eye in a simulated hyper-realistic artist structure get pulled out and crushed, it will make me squeam a little bit. And if it doesn't make you scream, that's fine. Maybe you enjoy gore videos, but that's what it is. I'll give you an example, actually. Artists who worked on Mortal Kombat studied reference footage of real trauma in order to animate believable fatalities. Several developers publicly described nightmares and psychological stress from staring at violent reference material for long periods of time. Their brains registered the imagery as real even though they knew it was a reference for a game. That is important. This is a very important article to me, because the closer we get to realism, the more horrifying it gets for people to make this stuff. That's the reality of it. Have you ever fired a gun? Ever fired a gun? I've fired many guns in my life. I'm just curious if you ever fired a gun. I shot a Desert Eagle and I had to wear earplugs because Desert Eagles are loud. Guns are loud. You ever go to a shooting range ever in your life? I recommend you do. It is insane. The recoil of a gun, if you don't hold it correctly, gun safety by not having your finger on the trigger, always having the safety on, is very important. The body will recognize sensory truth of violence even during a simulation. Gunfire will carry this brutal artistic crack in the real world that rattles the chest and ears of anyone standing by. Real wounds carry texture, color, just irregular damage. They don't resemble a cartoon at all. If someone had an anvil dropped on their skull, it would crack. I know that's fiction. I'm aware of that. I know fictionalized violence is often done in a portrayal of humor. I grasp it. Accurate depictions of violence provoke visceral reactions because the nervous system, your brain, interprets those signals as threats to survival. A player who may understand the fictional context perfectly well, while the body still tightens. That's what's the reality of it. I have a friend who cannot witness anything that has eye injuries. They are very horrified of witnessing anything with eye injuries in any game we play. They cannot look at it. They just can't. The imagery, when it becomes too real to the physical reality of the imagery, the mind will know. You can understand that it's fiction. That's fair, right? But the body doesn't care. The body's going to look at it and say, this is horrifying. I bring up all this to say one thing and one thing very clearly. When it comes to fictionalized sexualization of characters that are deemed childlike, you do not need that much detail when doing so. We have gotten hentai down for quite some time, even if it's 2D. Hence why you can also beat your Johnson to hentai. We have gotten to that point where we say, oh, this drawing is actually pretty cool. But what is the drawing depicting? If someone, for instance, say you're watching Lemon Party, or you were watching the Pain Olympics back in the day, those horrifying things, those are horrifying. Those suck. They're evil and wacky and wicked, and witnessing those sets off a wild reaction. Those are real life things. If somebody drew a one-to-one thing showing all the blood, gore, and viscera of that one-to-one creation, you would say, ah, that's strange. And this is even crazier because I remember the Doki Doki Literature Club whole thing. You guys don't remember that, do you? Doki Doki Literature Club was this cheerful presentation of a harmless anime club before pushing the player directly into moments of raw psychological horror. The scenes involve Sayori and Yuri, and they disturb many players, and I don't want to talk about the specific thing. The players knows the characters exist inside the light novel, however, people were still wildly disturbed. They give you warnings in the front of the game. The warning they give in the beginning of Doki Doki Literature Club is that it has depictions of violence, and that if you have PTSD or trauma, you should not play this game. Please be warned. That's a real warning. The game knows it's fictional. I'm pretty sure the person who made the game knows it's fictional, but it still gives you the warning because it depicts those things. They give you a trigger warning for those games. I hate using this term, but it's such a bad faith argument to use things when the developers of these things, the creators, are using the terms in these ways and goes. And I know what I'm going to hear a lot. I'm going to talk about it later, but the conversation around certain anime tropes exists in a different emotional category. The topic centers on characters' design with visual traits of children placed into sexualized situations meant to create arousal and voyeurism attention. The trope frequently appears under labels of lolly and shota. The characters often receive absurd lore explanations about I am an ancient vampire, I'm a 1,000-year-old vampire, or I'm a supernatural being who possesses centuries of life experience, but they still act like a child. Oh, I like sweets and candy, and you're basically a kid. And despite you giving me this lore explanation, you can age up the characters as much as you want to. You can say, oh yeah, this is great. I have a 10,000-year-old Granny Lolly. This is fine. The Granny Lolly archetype is crazy because they still act like a kid. They don't act like somebody with thousands of years of wisdom bestowed upon them. They don't act that way. They act as if they're a child. And I understand that. The visual design still communicates childlike portions, childlike voices, and childlike behavior. My issue isn't with the petite body type, by the way. When you have a character such as Rukia here, who is a character that acts very mature. Rukia in Bleach acts very mature. And then you have characters who don't act very mature, such as Milim. Milim does not act very mature. Milim is very powerful, one of the greatest characters in That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. I enjoy this series a lot. But Milim has a lolly body type, and there are women who have this body type in real life. I know that. I'm not an idiot. I'm not dumb. But the way she acts is infantile. She acts as if she is a child. She does not speak in any manner of that variety. And I grasp that it's an anime, and I know it's not reality. It's fiction. And they do this to attract people to the character, saying, oh, that's my little sister type. Oh, I enjoy this so much. The stimulus being presented to the audience centers around attraction toward a child-coded body. That's what's being activated in your brain. I don't know a better way to describe that. It is trying to stimulate that inside of your brain. I'm not a prude. Just want to point that out. I'm not a prude. Anime carries a long history of fan humor service that blurs the line between boundary, comedy, and sexual imagery. Series such as One Piece and Naruto include exaggerated jokes built around the classic pervert archetype. In Naruto, the young ninja Naruto Uzumaki famously uses a technique to appear as an adult woman while adult characters react with nosebleeds and exaggerated lust. We got that, right? We understand that? That's cool. He's 14 years old and he's doing this. Konohamaru Sarutobi repeats the same gag later in the series. These moments exist as crude humor inside a long-running shonen tradition. The presence of these characters demonstrates how anime has historically played with gags that are provocative, involving characters who remain minors inside the story. We get it. We understand that, right? We get it. You get it? None of this erases the simple point that many viewers find the sexualization of child-coded characters deeply uncomfortable, right? And if you enjoy it, it's fine. Knowledge of the fictional setting does not dissolve the other person's reaction, though. A person who plays thousands of rounds of Counter-Strike accumulates an enormous digital count. Just big, boogogop, big, while possessing zero desire to harm anyone in the real world. A person who watches disturbing gore footage on the internet often acts out of morbid curiosity. There's no violent intent behind it. The brain can explore fictional violence while maintaining clear moral boundaries about harming real people. That's a reality. That's real, because that's how brains work. Provocative or promiscuous depictions of childlike characters trigger just a wildly different response, because the stimulus itself revolves around erotic framing. I don't get a boner when I look at violence. I'm not Jeffrey Dahmer. I don't. Scenes that place small, young, coded characters into vulnerable situations accompanied by moaning, blushing, or suggestive camera work activate the attraction circulatory of the mind. That's what it is. The circuitry in the mind, that's what it goes. Many viewers experience an immediate moral recoil because the presentation encourages attraction towards a body that visually resembles a child regardless of any supernatural age written in lore. The fictional explanation does not override the visual signal within it. And you could say all you want, well, I know women with body types like that. I'm pretty sure those women in real life act like women, grown women. I'm pretty sure they act like that. I'm 100% positive, but I'm pretty sure your brain is so far gone rotted, so deeply in the gut of nastiness and viscera and trash and fecal matter that you yourself are saying, well, fictional girls are way better. I just enjoy fictional girls. And if that's who you are, then you yourself have some form of mental debilitation, and I can't help you. All I ever hear whenever I bring this up is people say, oh, you're a tourist or a Puritan, and you gotta separate fiction and reality. It is every debate surrounding a topic. It insults about appearance, my taste, or my cultural knowledge will fly across the internet or to me immediately, and the noise rarely changes the core issue. You could say that, well, what do you know about Outlaw Star or Trigun or Ninja Star? Or what do you know about Crying Freeman? Or what do you know about Doki Doki Literature Club? Or what do you know about High School DxD? Or what do you know about Shuffle or School Rumble? What do you know about those shows? What do you know about School Days, huh? You don't know about those shows. You have no idea what these shows are. You don't know about all these great shows. What do you know? I've seen every one of those shows, man. I'm here with you. I grasp it. And this has been an issue in the anime community for years. I'm aware of that. I know that. I understand how anime has been. I watched all of Fairy Tail. I still read Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest. Still reading Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest, mind you. I'm still reading it. I still watch anime and read manga. I still watch One Piece. I'm still here, right? I'm still doing this. I just recognize there's an issue within the medium. And I'm not saying that, here's what I'm not saying, right? In Japan, there's a completely different culture over there. You know this, I know this. We are both fans of anime, we grasp it. There's a completely different culture over there in the East. Over there, the land that rise in the East, the rising East, whatever you want to call it, Sun Wukong, China. It's a whole different medium over there. I'm not arguing that I want to bring my Western viewpoints onto the East. They have machines where you can get panties, dude. I'm not doing that at all. My issue is with this specific one thing. You can keep your fan service. I don't care about that. I'm not a person where you say either it's all okay or none of it's okay. I'm not here to do that. You can keep all your fan service. You can keep all the stuff you want. You can keep your yaoi and your yuri. I don't care about none of that. You can keep your futanari. I don't care about none of that. My issue is that, and I'm going to say this right now, there are lollies with horse phallic members. There are lollies with horse phallic members out there. It's My Little Pony stuff out there. It's crazy, it's disgusting, it's wicked and wacky. That exists in this real world. I've just bestowed upon you knowledge that you should not know. It's nasty. How did I discover this? How did I discover this? Against my will is how I discovered it. Arguing with people that actively say, well, let's separate reality from fiction. And then someone said, Lolly Futabomb. Dropped it in a Twitter comment. Don't even know how that's on Twitter. Don't even know. No idea. It's disgusting. I hate it. I don't like this. Whatever is going on with this whole thing, we've gone too far. We have gone too far, and it's far too normalized, and there's too much of... Back in the day, there's one village idiot. One singular village idiot among the entire crowd of people that traded and bartered copper, iron, gold, and silver. That's all there was. Just one village idiot. One singular mind. One singular fool in his mind, having the worst time of his life. And then that singular village idiot let off a signal flare in the air, and other idiots in every single village saw those signal flares. And because the idiots didn't know that there were hundreds of thousands of millions of villages all around the world, now all those idiots can coagulate together amongst their things. We got flat earthers that are coming together. We got Hebrew Israelites and Hoteps all coming together, just having the same regurgitated weird echo chamber of the worst takes imaginable and the worst mindsets imaginable, all coagulating into one big signal of filth. That's what we have now. That's the reality of the situation, and it's nasty. Some viewers are going to accept the trope as harmless fantasy within an animated medium that thrives on exaggeration. I get that. I'm not stupid. I know that. Other people are going to interpret that same imagery, that's what I'm going to do, is say it's deeply unsettling because the framing, the provocative framing, centers on child-coded bodies. That's what is going on, and it's going to continue across anime communities, gaming spaces, social media, because the emotional reactions involved reach far deeper than a simple argument about fictional storytelling. This is culture to a lot of people. This is their livelihood, and they don't want to be called something nasty. They don't want to be called a PDF file. They don't want that. When in reality, it's worse than that. I think it's a little worse because your brain's just getting so provocativized by it. It's becoming a lesser medium. And to be quite real with you, I want to be so honest. If you enjoy lolly stuff, I don't think you are a predator. I don't. I do, however, think that you're weird and you are attracted to child-coded bodies. You can develop any kind of rigmarole inside of your mind. You can loop it back any way you want to. That's the reality of it. That is what you are finding your attraction towards. Ask yourself that question. I want you to say this sentence a lot. I want you to really say, I'm not trying to debate with you. I'm not trying to argue against you. I want you to just say the base reality of what you're doing. I want you to explain this to any regular person. I want you to go to anybody in public and explain, show the character, and explain your attraction to them. Is it their childlike actions? Is it their infantile-like things? Every time I hear these wayward arguments, well, I have an autistic girlfriend that acts exactly like this, but she's a grown woman, man. Grown woman. She's not depicted as a child, I'm sure. Her attitude may be that of that, but I'm pretty sure her body is that. Well, my autistic girlfriend actually has a lolly body type, and she's 25. Okay, great. I'm happy you're with a 25-year-old dude. I'm really happy about that. That made me feel great. Very happy that you have a very successful relationship, dude. And we also do DDLG. Okay, all right. Just don't tell me more. Just please keep that to yourself. This hypothetical straw man's gone too far. Please, I beg of you. Holy straw man. Ah, he's straw manning again. Ah, this is the greatest straw man of all time. Nobody talks like this. This is crazy. Yeah. I only talk in conversations that I know about or have had. I can only speak through my lived experience. I don't grab information and opinions from everybody else on the internet. I speak through my lived experience. That's how I operate as a human being. Anyways, let me know your thoughts about the lolly phenomenon down in the comment section down below. I'm out. Peace. Bye.
Good night, be my lover. Happy to try what you need. Your world, I love to live in it. I love the ride when you